The Interstellar Military Academy's orientation exercise was, technically, a war game. Technically. The Velkari called it the Crucible. The Dreth called it the Sifting. The humans who'd been enrolled for the past 9 years mostly called it the thing where they tried not to die for 6 hours straight, while species who'd been apex predators for 40,000 years tried to eliminate them. First, Rook Velkari Squad Leader, Gold Tier, the most decorated cadet in Crucible history, watched the human adjust her bootlace with the precise emotional experience of a surgeon watching a child play with scalpels. Cadet Voss, his translator, pushed the syllables out flat. The exercise has commenced. She looked up. Brown eyes. Unremarkable. The kind of face that made the tactical assessment software classify her as low priority. I know, she said. I'm almost done. She finished the knot. She was done in 11 seconds. The first elimination happened at minute 2. Rook had been tracking Cadet Dreth 7, the reptilian sharpshooter who'd placed third last cycle, circling through the northern quadrant for a clean angle. It was a logical play, patient. The kind of tactical patience that Dreth 7 had refined over 312 years of life. Voss came from below, not from behind, not from the side, below. She'd crawled under the mesh flooring of Grid 7. The flooring that wasn't on any map because it wasn't supposed to be accessible, because the maintenance shaft required a specific tool to open that no cadet was issued, that Rook had never once seen a cadet access in 11 years of Crucibles, and she came up directly under Dreth 7's feet and tagged him point blank with her training emitter before he registered she existed. Dreth 7 looked down at his elimination light, then at the space where she'd vanished back into the floor. 2 words came through his translator. They were the Dreth equivalent of what the humans called a profanity. Rook pulled up her file on his wrist display. Tara Voss, age 22, homeworld, Earth, northern continent, rural sector, prior, military experience, none, academic record, unremarkable. Psychological profile, persistent. He read it twice. Persistent was not a tactical classification. It was what the profile wrote when it couldn't find the correct box. By minute 14, she'd taken out 2 more. Both Velkari, both Gold Tier, both using the same impossible geometry angles that shouldn't exist because cadets were supposed to move through the course, not around it, not under it, not through the ventilation system that ran parallel to Corridor 9, which Rook was fairly certain required a cadet to be roughly 40% smaller than regulation human dimensions to navigate. He watched the replay. She wasn't 40% smaller, she just didn't seem to care about what fit. She's cheating, said Cadet Ix Forma, his second in command. Ix Forma was Velkari's 7 feet of iridescent scale and 3,000 years of institutional memory. He said cheating the way one says impossible as a synonym. She's not cheating, Rook said. Review the parameters. Ix Forma reviewed them. There was a long silence. She's not cheating, he confirmed. His voice carried the specific flatness of a mind reclassifying something in real time. The hour mark. 37 cadets had entered the gauntlet. Rook had been watching the board for 11 years. The record elimination count for Hour 1 was 9, set by a Dreth who'd trained exclusively for Crucible conditions for 2 consecutive cycles. The board showed 17 elimination lights. Voss's emitter tag was on all 17. Somewhere in Corridor 4, she had gone completely off-grid. No sensor contact, no thermal signature. The environmental systems couldn't track her because she was, as far as Rook could determine, deliberately staying inside the sensor dead zones, the dead zones that weren't in any cadet documentation, that were a known flaw the Academy had simply never fixed because no cadet had ever found them. The board updated. 18. Rook had been watching the Crucible for 11 years. He felt something he didn't have a word for in the Velkari language. He found one in the human translation banks. Unease. At 53 minutes, she surfaced in the command sector. His sector. She was filthy. Grease on her jaw. a tear in her left sleeve, moving like something low to the ground that had evolved in dark places, not crouched, exactly. More like she'd simply decided that the concept of a full upright posture was optional, contextual, a luxury for beings who didn't need to fit through maintenance shafts and sensor shadows. She looked at him. He was a squad leader, gold tier, the most decorated cadet in Crucible history. He stood 6'4" in a species that averaged 6'9". His elimination record was 9. She tilted her head the way the humans did when they were solving something. "You're the last one," she said. "I am aware." "Cool." She moved. He'd studied Velkari combat theory for 30 years. He had 3 times her mass, twice her reach, and reflexes calibrated for engagements at ranges where she wasn't supposed to be able to close. He tracked her trajectory, calculated intercept, brought his emitter up. She wasn't there. She was under his arm, point blank. His elimination light activated. The gauntlet ran 6 hours. She finished in 57 minutes. In the debrief room, the other cadets were quiet, in the specific way that indicated a collective recalibration. Ixforma had his data pad out and was reviewing Voss's movement patterns with an expression Rook had never seen on a Velkari face before, which was something adjacent to academic hunger. Rook looked at the human cadet. She was eating something from a small pouch, crackers, possibly. She ate them with the total emotional serenity of someone who had just taken a pleasant walk. "How did you find the maintenance shafts?" he asked. She looked up. "I got lost my first week. Ended up in one by accident." She paused. "I figured if I'd found it by accident, nobody was watching them on purpose." "A silence. The sensor dead zones," Ixforma said. It was not a question. It was a species who had lived 3,000 years, realizing the shape of something they'd missed. "Same logic," she said. "If the sensors can't see it, whoever designed the course didn't think it mattered. Things people don't think matter." She popped another cracker. "Usually matter." Rook thought about 17 distinguished cadets, their elimination lights burning, and a 22-year-old human crawling through spaces that shouldn't fit her. Following a logic so simple, it had never occurred to anyone with 3,000 years to build something more complicated. "Persistent," her file said. He understood now why the profile couldn't find the right box. There wasn't one. The name spread the way names do in closed institutions, cadet to cadet, corridor to corridor, until it reached the instructors, and then the administration, and then, eventually, the interstellar dispatch wires where the Academy's results were logged for the wider coalition record. Death Maiden. It was a translation artifact, the Dreth phrase that meant, more precisely, the one who comes from where there is nothing. Rook thought that was close. Not quite right. The right word was simpler. The right word was human.